No one would have guessed Daniel's life could fall apart so quickly. On paper, he had everything people called blessed. A good job in tech, a house he worked years to afford, a marriage that looked strong from the outside, 2 kids who laughed easily, a reputation for being fair, kind, dependable. Daniel wasn't perfect, but he was faithful. Not loud about it, not flashy. He prayed quietly before work. He thanked God before meals. He tried to live right, even when no one was watching. People often said, "God has his hand on you." Daniel believed that, until the year everything broke. It started with the job, a company restructure, a meeting that lasted less than 10 minutes, a manager who wouldn't meet his eyes. "We're letting you go." Just like that. Daniel drove home in silence, hands tight on the steering wheel. He told himself it was temporary. God had closed doors before. Another would open. 2 weeks later, the savings account thinned. 2 months later, the house felt heavier. 3 months later, the calls from debt collectors started. Then came the phone call about his brother. Car accident, drunk driver, gone instantly. Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, phone still pressed to his ear long after the call ended. His chest felt hollow, like something had been scooped out and left empty. He didn't cry right away. He just stared. "God," he whispered, "I don't understand." No answer came. The sickness arrived quietly. At first, it was exhaustion Daniel couldn't shake. Then pain. Then doctor visits that turned serious. The diagnosis came with long words and short hope. Treatment would be expensive, outcomes uncertain. Daniel laughed, not because it was funny, but because it felt cruelly familiar. One loss after another. People came at first. Church friends brought meals. Co-workers sent messages. Family checked in. But time passed. People grew uncomfortable with his questions, with his sadness, with his refusal to pretend he was fine. Some stopped calling. Others tried to explain God to him. "Everything happens for a reason. God won't give you more than you can handle. Maybe there's something you need to repent for." Those words hurt more than the silence. Daniel sat alone on his couch one night, body aching, bills stacked on the table, house quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. And for the first time in his life, he shouted at God. "I did everything right!" he yelled into the empty room. "I prayed, I believed, I trusted you. Why would you do this?" His voice cracked. "If you're there, say something!" Nothing. His wife tried to stay strong, but grief and fear weigh heavily on love. Arguments grew sharper, conversations shorter, hope thinner. One night, after another hospital bill arrived, she said quietly, "I don't know how much more I can do this." Daniel didn't argue. He understood. When she left weeks later, the house echoed with absence. Daniel sat on the floor, back against the wall, and whispered, "I'm still here, God, but I don't know why." Months passed. Daniel lost weight, lost sleep, lost certainty. But he didn't lose one thing. He didn't stop talking to God. Not politely, not reverently, honestly. Some prayers sounded like anger, others like exhaustion. Some were just silence offered upward. Friends questioned his faith, but heaven saw something different. Faith that stays, even when it hurts, is still faith. One afternoon, Daniel sat in a hospital waiting room staring at the floor tiles. An older man sat beside him. They didn't talk at first. Then the man said, "Long road?" Daniel nodded. The man smiled gently. "Me too." They talked, not about answers, but about pain, loss, fear, and God. Before leaving, the man said something Daniel wouldn't forget. Sometimes God doesn't explain himself. Sometimes he is just there. That night, Daniel dreamed. Not of miracles, not of healing, not of explanations. He dreamed of standing in a vast, quiet space, too big to name. And instead of hearing God speak to him, he felt God standing with him. No words, just presence. Daniel woke up crying, not because everything was fixed, but because he realized something. God had never left. Healing didn't come overnight, but slowly things shifted. A friend reappeared, a job opportunity opened, smaller, humbler, but enough. His health stabilized. Peace replaced some of the anger. Daniel never got answers for why everything happened, but he gained something deeper. Trust that didn't depend on outcomes. Faith that survived questions. Strength born from endurance. Years later, Daniel would tell someone sitting where he once sat, "I don't have explanations for this thing called life. But I know this: God is always there, through the good and bad days. And that was enough to keep going." If this story encouraged your heart or gave you a moment of peace, please take a moment to like this video and share it so more people can hear something hopeful today. And if you'd like to continue listening to stories that strengthen faith, bring comfort, and remind us that God is near, please subscribe to this channel. Your support helps these stories reach others who may need encouragement. Thank you for listening. May peace stay with you until we meet again.